Today I'm honored to introduce to you a marketing visionary in the FMCG sector, Rasika Prashant. She's the Chief Marketing Officer for Tata Soulfull Private Limited. She's a leader who's transformed the way we think about traditional Indian grains, and as the co-founder of Soulfull, she's championed the revival of the millets, turning them into a modern, health-focused staple that resonates with today's consumers. Under her leadership, Soulfull has not only grown into a household name, but has also set new standards for consumer centricity and sustainability in the industry. Her deep commitment to understanding consumer needs, coupled with her ability to blend tradition with innovation, has made Soulfull a standout brand in a competitive market. Rasika's journey exemplifies her passion for creating healthier food options that are accessible and appealing to all. Please join me in welcoming Rasika Prashant, a leader who continues to inspire and drive change in the way we eat. So Rasika, your career has spanned diverse roles from advertising to digital planning in San Francisco before co-founding Soulfull. What motivated you to shift from these roles to launching a health-focused food brand like Soulfull?
So while I lived in the US and I studied in the US, somewhere I wanted to come back and give back to the India story. One of the reasons was also because while I was working there, the economy wasn't doing really great. While I had a job, but I wasn't really learning much over there. I knew the opportunity was in India because I had a diverse experience in marketing. Marketing always excited me. And of course my passion for food. Now putting this together, definitely knew one thing when I came back to India. If I did not do something which was truly purposeful or making a difference in a big way, it wouldn't take much for me to go back because it's much more comfortable in the US back then. So that was the whole thing. Because I co-founded Soulfull with Prashant, who's also my husband. His family comes from an agricultural background where they grow tea, coffee, not tea, rubber, coffee and paddy. And so there was always an inherent understanding of anything to do with food. And while we were in the US, we saw the whole advent of quinoa, which was a Peruvian grain, and soon realized that millets, which are ancient Indian grains, actually have the same nutrition value and cost 1/4 as much as quinoa. Quinoa basically was commodity. There was no one brand which benefited from quinoa. So all of this put together gave us the idea that when you brand something, when you put a proposition, when you give it in a format for consumers in the way that they like it, then the adoption of it is much faster. So I think so that's what kind of put all of it together to make me do something. And it was also that thing to do something on my own and see how it goes to build a brand.
So it was the need to do something purposeful in the place where you come from.
Yes.
So Soulfull has become synonymous with millets and ancient grains in the fast-moving consumer goods sector. So what drew you to focus on millets and how do you see them fitting into modern consumer lifestyles?
So Prashant's uncle is Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, who was the father of the Green Revolution. While we were while we were in the US and dabbling on the idea as to what do we want to do, one of the things that when we met him, he said, I did the Green Revolution because at that time it was about hunger satisfaction. However, today is about nutrition satisfaction. Another thing that he said is in the coming few years, India is going to be running out of groundwater. We are relying on grains like rice and wheat. And just to give you a quick trivia, rice consumes 4,000 liters of water from the ground, while millet or ragi consumes 400 liters of water from the sky. It was very important as an economy to move towards a more sustainable grain because today we don't have groundwater in Bangalore, right? We don't have groundwater in Bombay. And this was a reality which was staring at us long time back. So he was the one who said, if you guys really want to make a difference, truly a difference in the India story, one of the things that we could do is work on a grain like millet, make it relevant and make it a lot more seamless. Like the consumer should be able to it should not be like I need to eat millet, but it should be about what pain point of my millet is solving in a more tangible way, in a more comprehensive way for the Indian consumer. That's what got us to work and I'm glad we did so. So I'll just give you an example with the erratic weather conditions right now. Millets are like all-weather crops. They grow in dry, arid conditions. People have started adopting millets a lot, especially after UN declared 2023 the International Year of Millets. So I'm glad that we're moving in that direction. It's important that at least three things, like they say in India, roti, kapda, makan, you have to be able to get those things right. Otherwise, as an economy, you can develop, but your fundamentals will not be rooted.
So you've been known to conduct extensive consumer research, including personally interviewing hundreds of consumers. Can you share some key insights from these interviews that influence Soulfull's product development and marketing strategies?
So I'll give you one example. So like you said, we do a lot of consumer research. But of late, when we do consumer research, we also strategically go and talk to consumers in order to solve certain business problems. So while we purchase data from AC Nielsen in order to understand the category saliency in different parts of the country, what was staring at us was West Bengal, which is the east. There is a lot of saliency for breakfast cereal, and we could not understand for the life of us that what was getting this category to be so salient there. So we went out there and we recruited a few customers, and we started talking to them. And what we realized is that these customers, people in West Bengal, they traditionally eat aloo luchi or roti doodh for breakfast. But they wake up only at 8:30 in the morning. Kids go to school at 11 o'clock in the morning. Very contrary to the way life works in the south or in the west. So then, because of that, now imagine to wake up in the morning and to make luchi, which is a puri, and aloo is a very cumbersome job. So they don't want to do that. Now, what is the next thing that they can do is make roti. Now, that's also quite cumbersome. Generally, a fairly high lethargy quotient is that state has a little high lethargy quotient. So then they realized that breakfast cereals, which come in the form of 10 rupee packets, are very convenient because they have all the ingredients which is good for their children. They're also a highly literate part of India. So they read a lot, they watch a lot of content, they're very influenced, and every mother in today's day and age wants to give her child the best. Now the next question was, why is the smaller packet selling a lot? When we went to their homes, we realized they have very little space. They don't have very large homes. And because of that, they have a small fridge, a small cupboard, so their storage space is very small. Having said that, they're also not a very, very high flourishing economy. So what they say is, if I go and buy a big packet, it costs around 200 rupees. But because the product is so tasty, my family opens it and finishes it in 5 days. So imagine I've spent 200 rupees in 5 days. Instead, if I buy 10 small packets or 5 small packets which are 10 rupees or 5 rupees each, I give them one packet every day. They feel like I'm indulging them and giving them quality, but at the same time I'm only spending 50 to 100 rupees and I'm controlling consumption. So it's the storage, it's the affordability, it's the lifestyle. So it was beautiful how that whole thing tied up for us as to why people in the east end up eating like chocos or breakfast cereals a lot more than the other parts of the country.
That's really insightful.
Very insightful, yeah.
So the health food segment is highly competitive with many established players, but Soulfull has achieved remarkable brand recognition under your leadership. What are some of the marketing principles that have been crucial in building and sustaining Soulfull's brand identity? And how do you tailor these strategies to resonate with the diverse consumer segments from urban millennials to health-conscious mothers?
So when it comes to marketing strategies, we have a few principles, and I'm going to keep it sharper for you to understand. So one of the principles that we have is that our spends are a percentage of our revenue. We never upfront spend or front load our spends because we want to be sure about the success of the portfolio to be able to make sure that we can actually justify the spends that we have. That's one thing. Another thing that we do is there's a funnel, there's a marketing funnel which is about awareness, consideration and trial. When we plot our marketing activities stack up, we make sure that we do activities for each part of the funnel because it's very crucial to bring the consumer down that funnel pyramid stage. Only then you're actually tying them back and creating an attachment between them and the category you're launching. The third thing which is extremely important for us, and we start thinking about this right from the day of product inception, is that, so what we do is, for example, if there is a product and we're looking at launching it, we look at what is the channel of sales. that this is very relevant in. So we do a lot of benchmarking about competition. Does it sell in general trade, which is your kirana stores? Does it sell in modern trade? Does it sell well in e-commerce? We look at that. Then we do the pricing strategy, and we also accordingly launch our SKUs. Now, because we are very clear that in which channel we are going to launch it, that helps us kind of craft our stack up of the media options. So, for example, for our kids breakfast cereal, kids snacking, which is a 5 rupee, 10 rupee portfolio, it sells in GT. Now, hence we know that the person we are talking to is the child, because it's the child who comes to the store and picks it up for 5 or 10 rupees. Now, that child is who I need to lure. And what is that child watching? That child is watching TV. They are watching kids channel. So if I am able to build out a strategic plan on a kids channel, which I can exhaust because I have a decent budget basis the revenue, then I can actually be seen very frequently on kids channel, and children start considering me and will make me like and think that I'm an important brand. Now the same child, what we do is I build awareness through kids channel. I cannot target children on YouTube. It's not allowed. So what I do is I try to find other surrogates, maybe gaming, maybe DIY videos, look at those audience sets, affinities, and use the same video and target them on different digital platforms. Then I go one level deeper, wherein we understand that which cities are we selling well in, where we have good distribution, and do a school contact program. So we go to the schools, we talk to them a little bit more about the product. This is where we fulfill our consideration funnel. The next thing that we do is we do sampling in kids exhibitions, because wherever you see kids exhibitions, children are going to be the audience out there. Or if there is a kids movie that releases. In every city, when there is a kids movie that releases, parents do take the children out on the first and second weekend. So those 2 weekends, we go and do sampling. We tie up with Disney, we tie up with these, these production houses which come up with these films, and then we take. Now, in all of this, because it's a child, while we talk to the mother about the proposition and the benefits, we have a mascot called Cruncha Mancha, and we take him at all these locations because that's where he creates a relationship with the child. So it's about he's like that, he's like Hobbes in Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
So he's that between the mother and the child, and that's where there is an endearing relationship and a frequency that develops. So the children start seeing him on the pack, then they start seeing him in real. So we create this whole loop of 360 media options, but the core of it is which channel we're selling it in, and the second part of it is that what is the budget that we have basis the revenue projections for the year, and then on a quarterly basis we rejig our budgets basis how much we are able to achieve or what is the latest estimate that we see as the business for the year.
It's very targeted, very specific.
Very specific. Yeah, very specific, very sharp. We do few things, we do them well, and we do them often. We don't spray and pray.
So the pandemic pushed many businesses to pivot towards digital marketing platforms. How did Soulfull adapt to this shift, and what role does e-commerce now play in your overall business strategy?
So Soulfull, so I'm going to break this down into two parts. One is digital D2C and e-commerce. D2C is direct to consumer, which is our own website, and e-commerce is the various marketplaces and quick commerce platforms that you have, like Amazon, Big Basket, Zepto, Blinkit, Instamart, etc. So let's talk about digital and D2C. As Soulfull as a brand, we realized in November 2019, Soulfull has always been a very agile brand. So whenever we see something which is happening out there, we force ourselves into FOMO because we want to make sure that we are, a part of the latest trending things, because the brand is very progressive, and we again learn and do few things, and we don't be very complacent and we're not left back. So in 2019 November is when we realized that we need to have a D2C platform, because a lot of consumer brands started having their own website. We built out our website on Shopify, and we actually kept it really nimble. We were very fortunate in 2020 March when COVID hit, and everybody was asked to shut their offices, etc. We could use and dial up our D2C platform, which was already ready, and we had everything at the back end ready, in order to start doing deliveries which were door to door at a quicker turnaround time. Because we had our task, we had our entire force of marketing people who were available, and the force of those who supply on the back end. So they had nothing otherwise to do. At the same time, what we did was, because we were not a part of a larger brand house then, we could keep up, we only shut our factory for a day, we could keep our factory open the other days. We supplied to the regular standalone modern trade stores like the Top in Towns and Tom's Bakery, etc. So you could see us on the shelf, and we started putting coupons inside the boxes saying that, why don't you reach out, order on D2C and we'll deliver it to you in a day. We had a graphic design team which was always there in-house. We used them to make our performance creatives, and this way we increased our customer acquisition on the platform. So that's how we kept ourselves extremely nimble. We've made videos about no contact delivery, hygiene, how the factory is producing products, how we are still open, how we care for our consumer. We did lives on social media along with like nutritionists and other key opinion leaders. So the consumers suddenly started seeing the founders. They could come on live because they were craving for content, because there was really nothing much out there. They started getting a face to the founders, and they started building trust because they were so vulnerable at that point in time. All they wanted was faces who they could see, believe, talk to. We also dialed up our customer response team. We always had these things in-house, wherein any customer query, we would reply to them. We opened up a channel wherein we told people, you have any queries related to food hygiene, completely to our domain. We didn't go like medical. Food hygiene, food safety, what can you eat, where is it available? So customers started calling up, so we became like their port of call. We started, we did a geotagging mapping on and we put it on our website on a microsite, where if consumers came and put their PIN code, they knew exactly which stores our products were available in. Because at that point in time, nobody knew which stores were even open, and they were not going out of the house. We started communicating to them about no contact delivery, safety, etc. And our representatives would go in fully uniformed, clothed, safety gears to deliver. So they started feeling that sense of connect with us. So these were a few things we did at that time. This started making us a more relevant digital brand. And then we pivoted after COVID in doing a lot more digital marketing. We also collected a lot of first party data, because when people come and transact on the website, then they give us their first party data. What we did with this data over the last 3 years is, whenever we launch a new product, we have our loyal list of consumers, which is a fairly large cohort. We know what products they buy. So depending on the category that they buy, for example, we recently launched masala muesli. So to all our muesli and our masala oats consumers, we send them a pack before launch, and we wrote them a little note saying that, you are a part of the Soulfull family. We really cherish you. Before anybody else tastes our products, we would like you to taste it. So that's how we create brand love. Another thing that we did with the data is, even today we do that. If there's a child's birthday, we take a box and we fill it with like 30 to 50 packets of ragi guides, and we send it to them with a birthday card like a week before their birthday, so they can distribute it to the kids in the community. On Diwali, what we did in COVID, we knew that people could not go and visit their loved ones. This is just one last example I'm going to state. What we did is we called up all our loyal customers and we said, you know what, every year you go back home to visit your loved one. This year you are not going because you're worried that if you travel and go to your parents, they might get, it might not be safe. We said, why don't you send a photograph of you and your loved one in either a moment where you celebrated Diwali before or just another moment of love. We put it on a pack. We made a special product which had only dry fruits, and we shipped it from the customer to their loved one with a note. And we did this completely for free. All these things is where we leveraged digital and created an association for the brand. When it comes to e-commerce, we were already quite active on e-commerce. During COVID, we made ourselves active on all platforms, but once COVID kind of relaxed, we consolidated, and we did not go on every single platform. We looked at our business P&L and we said, where is the revenue coming from, so that we consolidated our efforts. Today, 15% of our overall revenue comes from e-commerce.
So you really capitalized on the whole COVID.
Yes, we just went all out.
So after the acquisition by the Tata Consumer Products, how did the integration impact Soulfull's growth? What advantage has Tata's distribution network brought to the brand in terms of rural markets?
So the way Tata Consumer Products acquisition has impacted the Soulfull growth, again I'll keep it sharp to three major points. One is related to distribution. Soulfull was available in around 20,000 stores across the country. Today as we speak, Soulfull is available in around 4 to 5 lakh stores across the country. This is 60% of this is urban and 40% of it is rural. We couldn't have even imagined going to that part of rural, and the advantages are our goal when our dream when we launched Soulfull was to take nutrition to the grassroots at an affordable price point. We last year launched a product called Choco Sticks in competition to a very large brand. We launched it at a 5 rupee price point, and the differentiation that our product has is it has no maida and it has 35% less sugar than competition. So we're able to give it to the consumer at a price point parity where they don't need to pay more, but we're actually able to take nutrition to the grassroots and give that mother a better for you option for her child, which makes her feel guilt free.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be able to do this without that distribution and that scale.
Yeah.
The second biggest advantage is we always wanted to take Soulfull as a mainstream brand to international retail stores. We've launched a brand called Joyful last year in Tesco in UK. The reason it's Joyful is because there is already a brand called Soulfull in one of the international markets. We wanted to launch one brand across international, so we hence the name Joyful, and we are launching in the US, we're launching in Canada. So we were able to take an Indian homegrown brand to mainstream retail in the overseas market. The third biggest advantage was we had petitioned and done some white paper work for the International Year of Millets to be declared by UN, and that went through because of it was supposed to be in 2022, but because of COVID it got delayed by a year. In 2023, when the International Year of Millets happened, because we were under the aegis of Tata, the fact that it was Tata ka millet brand gave us a lot more credibility, a lot more awareness among our consumers. So I think it just kind of manifolded the amount of awareness that we got. So these were, I think, three biggest wins for us.
So sustainability is a recurring theme in your product offerings, particularly with the use of millets. How do you balance sustainability with the need for mass appeal in a price-sensitive market like India?
So when it comes to sustainability, it's a very subjective question. So the way we look at it, and I think rightfully said so, we are a brand. The Soulfull is a affordable, better for you brand for the Indian mass premium consumer. And hence how we look, for us it's very important to have a large shelf life period. So when it comes to sustainability, the way we look at it is we do not put any harmful ingredients, we don't put any artificial preservatives, we use natural colors in all our products. We do not use any fortification, so the nutrition that you get is from natural sources. We also make our products from millets, which are very, very water friendly crops. Like I told you, the consumption of water of ragi is 1/4 of that of rice. And we also keep, we also practice all the green practices in our factories and production facilities.
So as a leader who's navigated both startup culture and large corporate environments, how has your leadership style evolved, and what do you believe is essential for leading a brand like Soulfull in the FMCG sector?
So the way my leadership style has evolved is when I started off for the first few years, I was the only marketing person in my marketing team. Over a period of time, touchwood, I've been able to build a fantastic team. I've understood that people are the biggest asset because the contribution that they bring with their knowledge and efforts is unmatchable. My leadership style has evolved in the sense that while I make sure that my team knows the visions, while we set out our KPIs, while we have our goals, I let the team run the business the way they want to and check in with them regularly on business objectives. I do not micromanage people, which was a big transition because delegation was not that easy. But I believe that the diversity that they brought to the brand, thanks to the experience that they have in the FMCG sector across various brands in the past and the pedigree schools that they come from, I think adds a lot more value. So I let them run the business with their own style, but just make sure I check in with them to be able to be a supporting member to help them create their bottlenecks, and also give them a guiding KPI and goal sheet, which and craft their growth path so that they feel valued, recognized, and most importantly, for me, credibility doesn't matter. So I pass on the credit and the visibility to my team.
So it's like not micromanaging, more delegation of work and more freedom of just guiding them.
Yeah. And we also have a fairly flat organization structure, so we do not waste time in hierarchy and bureaucracy.
Looking ahead, what emerging trends in the health and wellness are you most excited about? And how is Soulfull preparing to stay ahead of these trends? And what innovations can we expect from the brand in the future?
So I'm going to actually break it. Okay, there are 3 questions. One is, what is the innovations? What are the trends that Soulfull looks like? And what are the innovations that we do? Okay, so what are the trends I'm most excited about? It's very, very exciting to see that in a market like India, 0% added sugar, which used to sell as 5% of the overall. So if you had a variant with 0% added sugar, it would be 5% of the overall sales of that category. Today it's gone up to 20 to 25%. So it's nice to see the awareness that people have. And this is not necessarily people with medical conditions. It's in the age group of 25 to 45 years. So it's good to see that level of awareness. A trend that I see which is going to come in and which is going to be relevant if it's dialed up well is gut friendly. It just needs to be put the right way, because all over India people do have gut related issues. It's just that when it's made to sound like probiotic and prebiotic, it sounds a lot more niche and evolved. But I think every single person needs something which keeps their gut clear and friendly. So this is a trend which is definitely going to pick up, and whichever brand kind of dials it up in a more consumer friendly way will benefit, and Soulfull definitely is working on that. Another trend which I see, which is very, very good, is the health and safety laws which are going to come, where you're going to see stars on the packs which will tell you how healthy the product is basis the ingredients. It's good to get the consumers more educated, and also consumers are able to read the back of pack, which makes food product manufacturers a lot more responsible now. It's good to see these pivots happening at a much faster pace than they happened in the past. So now lastly, when it comes to innovations, Soulfull always looks at innovations into 2 buckets. One is, what is the trend? It's okay if it's going to contribute to a lesser percentage of sales, but let's make products which are affordable and which layer on these trends. So like I said, gut friendly is something that's definitely something we'll capitalize on. We just launched a very, very interesting product called Rusk. Rusk is a very large category in our country. So far it was largely unorganized till a few years ago. Then there were brands like Britannia and Parle who organized the sector. The point is, it's a mass consumer segment, and Tata Soulfull just launched Rusk 2 weeks ago, but this time we launched it with no maida. So consumers have Rusk every single day, with their chai, and coming from Tata Consumer, where tea is the largest brand, we brought the synergy of the tea portfolio, the equity of the tea portfolio, did customized packs for different markets basis the brand of tea which is relevant there, and created a product called No Maida Rusk. And the beauty is the price is at parity with competition, the grammage is at parity with competition, so the consumer does not need to pay anything extra, but just make the right choice towards a healthy tomorrow.
So you're taking staple everyday food and making it healthier and more accessible.
Yes, and
for
affordable.
the majority of India.
Yeah.
So lastly, given your journey from co-founding Soulfull to scaling it under the Tata brand, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to enter the FMCG space, and what are some of the pitfalls that they should avoid?
So I think one thing, it's less of an advice, it's more of a learning that I've had. In the FMCG sector in India, while D2C seems very attractive, but D2C is great from a P&L point of view to get consumer feedback, to be able to keep in touch with your consumer, to have availability. But I think the largest channel which even today is relevant in FMCG is general trade. and one should focus on developing products at entry level price points and affordable price points for general trade, because that over a period of time delivers a much more healthier bottom line. So that's my that would be my experience that I would share with them. As far as pitfalls are concerned, you're always going to have you're always going to have situations where you probably fail, where a product failed in the market. Keep the consumer at the center of whatever you do. Business will follow. Keep yourself honest and sincere and transparent. And if you ever see anything fail, quickly learn to recall back, fix yourself, and put it out there. Because finally, the moment of truth lies with the consumer, and if that consumer is happy, then you definitely have a great trajectory for yourself.
So that was really insightful speaking to you today, learning about how much work goes into each marketing strategy that you implement and how targeted it is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today. It really gave all of our viewers a really big insight into the FMCG space, especially in terms of marketing.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you as well. It was very seamless. Thank you so much, and I think it was really a pleasure, and must say that the way you conducted this whole thing made me feel very comfortable to flow with it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.